And now it is time to introduce you to Alfred the Rhino. Alfred's a really cool dude because he's going to show you a lot about Houdini. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring Alfred into Houdini and we're going to throw down a few nodes and fix a couple of things that I already know exist. And we're going to add a material, we're going to light it. I just want to show you what that whole process looks like of taking a model, taking Alfred, and getting to this point right here. The first thing you want to do whenever you start a new project is to set up your file directories. We're going to eventually amass a bunch of different pieces of geometry. If we have reference image, we want a place to store that as well. And so one thing you could do is we could actually go to a place like, let's say, my desktop and say right-click, new folder, and let's just say this is the Alfred project. We could do that and then just make our files manually, save it out. But there's actually a better way to generate this for yourself. If you go back to Houdini, go to File, New Project, and this is our New Project dialog window. Let's set our project name to Alfred Project, just like that. And under project path, we have $home/Houdini projects. Now this $home might be a little bit confusing, but here's what it means. If you look at this path down here, you'll notice that I have C users, salty bits, which is my computer name, documents, Houdini projects, and then Alfred project. This is where this whole directory is going to get saved out to. So this $home is basically just a shorthand version of everything up till the Houdini projects. The $home is the C user salty bits documents. And that's what these little dollar signs will stand for. They're like little shorthand expressions for these file paths. So I just want to save this out to the desktop. I can just browse by clicking that, and I can go desktop. And you'll notice that sometimes when you do this, this accept doesn't actually work. But that's okay because we can just copy this path. I'll Control C, exit out. And I'm just going to paste it, Control V. And now we see that our project is set to C users, salty bits, desktop, and then Alfred project. And then under Alfred project, it's going to create all of these folders underneath that. If you want custom folders, I like making a separate reference folder. So I'll go ref, like that. You can always add whatever you'd like. And now when we hit accept, and we go back to our desktop, you'll notice that we have Alfred project. And we have all these folders that we just specified. Now, while we are here, I also have the HDR, which is going to be used for lighting. And I also have Alfred's geometry file right here. So let's actually add this to our new structure. If I go under the geo, I'm going to put Alfred right there. And if I go to the text, I'm going to put the HDR right there. Great. There's one more thing that we need to do now. Let's save out our scene file. We'll go File, Save As, and let's browse for Alfred project. And we will call this Alfred project version 1, just like that. And now we've saved out our projects. All right, so now that we have it set up, let's add Alfred. We'll go to the bottom right here. I'm going to press Tab. I'm going to start by creating a geometry container. You can left click the lettering and let's just call this Alfred_geo, like so. If I double click the node, I'll go inside of that. And thus far, I've been calling this a geometry container. And I actually want to pause for a second and let you know that this area that we've just entered into is actually called SOPs. And SOPs stands for Surface Operators. In general, Houdini has different SOPs and VOPs and DOPs and all of these different catchphrases that get thrown around. You might have heard people talking about Houdini, talking about them in DOPs or POPs or all of that. What people are basically talking about are these different contexts that you can find different nodes in. So now that I'm inside of this Alfred Geo container, I'm now in SOPs, Surface Operators, and I have specific nodes that are set for the SOP context. So from now on, I'm going to call this SOPs because that's what you'll hear it be referred to as. But anyway, I just wanted to take a quick detour and point that out while we are here. Moving on, we have this file node, and this file can be used to import Alfred. So let's go to geometry file. We will browse just like that. And we can go to the Alfred project, go to Geo, and go like that. Now it's going to take a second to load because there's going to be a lot of polygons associated with Alfred. As a matter of fact, just to let you guys know, I found Alfred online, and you could see this website here is called 3dscans.com. And what's cool about this is that this was actually made by an artist named Henry Alfred Jacquemart, something like that. I probably just butchered his last name terribly. But it's a French artist, and you can actually find Alfred sculpted in person in Paris. He was made in 1878. So anyway, just wanted to give you a little background on where this comes from. Back in Houdini, we have Alfred loaded now. And I'm going to zoom out. I'm just Alt-right click. And if I zoom way out, you'll notice that there is Alfred. And man, not only is Alfred huge in our scene, but he's also facing the wrong way. So the first thing we ought to do is get Alfred set straight here. We can highlight our file node, and what we can do is we can hit Tab, and we can hit Transform, and this will add a transform node. Now you'll notice that when I pressed Enter, I actually automatically connected it to this file node. So I'll just do that one more time. I just have file selected, Tab, I type in transform, and now to automatically connect it, hold down Shift and Enter. That's kind of a fun little fact that that's usually how I connect nodes, is just by doing that. You could also just go transform, Enter, and then place it, and then connect it. Same thing. Anyway, let's set our visibility to our transform, and you'll notice that I'm in this little multi-handle tool that we have right here. This little multi-handle tool is cool because this basically relates to whatever node is currently selected. Right now, the transform is selected, so we have this transform handle available to us. And let's say that we want to bring Alfred back here to the origin. Well, we can move manually like this. That's one way we could try doing it. We can also say move Centroid to origin, and what that will do is it'll bring any object associated with this handle automatically to the origin. Again, that was up here in the parameters. It says move Centroid to origin. So that's kind of a neat, handy way of doing that. Now we need to rotate. So we could just use this X axis right here. And we can freehand this X, and you'll notice that we have our rotation in degrees right here. Let's set this to 90, just like that. And then we can move him up. There we go. Now, let's say that we want to make sure that Alfred is sitting perfectly flat to the ground. What we can do to do this is we can actually move our pivot to the bottom of this platform, and then we can snap to the grid. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. If I want to change the location of my pivot, press Insert, and now I've entered a mode that allows me to change where this pivot exists. If you hold down X, this will bring up our snapping options. So now I have snap to point, to primitive, to grid, and all that. We actually want to snap to point in this case because we want to bring our little handle to the bottom of the platform. So I'm going to simply let go of X now, and now you'll notice over here that point snap is enabled. And if I just go ahead and click the center here, I can now find an area that's just about at the bottom. Actually, I could just snap it to one of these spots right here. And now our pivot exists on the bottom. If you press Insert again, You will now exit the edit handle mode, and we can move just like regular again. You'll notice that point snapping is still active, so to turn that off, hold down X and select point again, and now we've just turned that off. And now we want to snap to the grid. So I'm going to hold down X again and select grid. And now I can simply click this Z axis and snap it to the grid. You'll see that the point highlight a little bit. And now we are perfectly flush with our scene. We're centered on the origin, and we're just about good to go. To leave this transform handle, press escape. And now we've entered into our little camera tool, which allows us just to left click, middle, right zoom. So there you go. That's a whole lot of stuff related to how to move things around in Houdini. Hopefully that has clarified how to do some of those things. Our next issue, though, is that we have a huge scale on this Rhino. As a matter of fact, Houdini exists in meters. So you'll notice here that we have 625 meters right here. That's huge, and we don't want it this big. To scale this down, let's add another transform node. And the reason why I'm adding another transform node is because we've already changed the pivot quite a bit up here, and we have a lot of other settings going on. So I just want to make a new one. And under uniform scale, let's set it to 1/100th of its current size, so 0.01. Now to frame this in, the hotkey for that is holding down spacebar and pressing F. Think F for frame. So that's how you frame that in. And now we are at about 1 meter or so. So this correlates to about 6 feet, I'd say, which sounds about right for a rhino sculpture. Cool, so we have this transform. Now what I'm wondering is how many polygons do we have here? If I zoom in here, this mesh is really dense. You could see all of these different faces, and I'm wondering how many we're actually looking at. So we can go to this info tab, and this will tell us that we have 2,820,810 faces, which is quite a bit, I'd say. Another way to get to that information is you could hold down middle mouse over the node, and this will tell us what's there as well. And in the next lesson, we're going to take a look at how to reduce the polygons on Alfred.